You know that feeling, don't you? You cooked a wonderful meal, maybe a Sunday roast, or a big batch of rice, and there's plenty left over. It just feels sensible, frugal even, to save those delicious remnants for another day. You pop them in the fridge, happy in the knowledge that you've got dinner sorted for tomorrow, or maybe even the day after. Then, when it's time to eat, you warm them up, expecting that same comforting taste, that easy meal. But have you ever noticed a little something off afterward? A slight tummy rumble, a vague queasiness, or perhaps just not feeling quite as vibrant as you should? It's a subtle thing, easy to dismiss as just something you ate. Or maybe you're just getting older. But what if I told you that some of those seemingly harmless leftovers could actually be doing more harm than good, silently undermining your health, even poisoning your body without you realizing it? It's a surprising truth that many of us, especially as we get a little wiser and perhaps a little more settled in our routines, overlook. In this important discussion, we're going to uncover 5 common foods that, when reheated, can turn from perfectly wholesome meals into potential health hazards. Understanding this isn't about fear, it's about empowerment, about taking charge of your well-being with simple, everyday knowledge. So, stick with me, because what we reveal might just change the way you think about leftovers forever. And make sure you watch right to the very end, because there's something waiting for you that might just surprise you. Now, let's dive straight into our first everyday culprit, and it's one that might catch many of you off guard: rice. Yes, plain old rice, a staple in so many homes. From a simple side dish to the base of a delicious stir-fry or curry, the problem isn't with the rice itself when it's freshly cooked, but rather with how it's handled after it leaves the pot and before it's reheated. You see, uncooked rice can contain spores of a bacterium called Bacillus cereus. Now, these tiny spores are incredibly resilient. They can survive the cooking process. So, even after you've boiled or steamed your rice to perfection, those spores can still be present. The real trouble starts when cooked rice is left to cool slowly at room temperature. This warm, moist environment is absolutely ideal for those surviving spores to germinate and multiply, turning into bacteria that can produce toxins. And here's the kicker: these toxins aren't destroyed by reheating. So, even if you heat your leftover rice until it's piping hot, the toxins can still be there, ready to cause you trouble. This can lead to what's often called fried rice syndrome, causing nausea, vomiting, or diarrhea within a few hours of eating. It's not pleasant. And for those of us in our golden years, any bout of food poisoning can be much more serious, leading to dehydration and general weakness that takes a long time to recover from. Think about it: you make a big pot of rice for dinner, perhaps with some lovely chicken and vegetables. You serve up, enjoy your meal, and then leave the remaining rice on the counter while you finish clearing up, maybe even for an hour or two before thinking about putting it away. That short time is all it takes for the bacteria to start their work. Or perhaps you've packed some leftover rice for a lunch to take out with you, and it sits in a warm bag for a few hours before you get to reheat it in the microwave at work. These seemingly innocent actions are where the danger lies. So, what's the golden rule for rice? If you're not going to eat it all straight away, you need to cool it as quickly as possible. Don't leave it on the counter for hours. Divide it into smaller portions, spread it out on a plate or a shallow dish, and get it into the fridge within 1 hour. Ideally, the faster it cools down and gets into that cold environment, the less time those spores have to turn into troublesome bacteria. Once it's in the fridge, consume it within 1 day, and when you do reheat it, make sure it's steaming hot all the way through, not just warm. Give it a good stir to ensure even heating. And here's another vital tip: only reheat rice once. If you've reheated a portion and then decide you don't want it, don't put it back in the fridge to reheat again later. It's a one-and-done deal with rice. It's much better to just throw it out than risk feeling poorly for days. This might sound like a lot of fuss for something as simple as rice, but the potential health implications are very real. It's not about being overly cautious. It's about being smart with your food. Imagine having a lovely family gathering, and someone makes a big batch of a rice dish, perhaps a paella or a biryani, if it's left out too long, then stored, and then reheated for another meal. You're potentially putting everyone at risk, especially for older adults, whose immune systems might not be as robust as they once were. Even a mild case of food poisoning can lead to significant discomfort and a longer recovery period. So, next time you have leftover rice, remember these rules. Cool it fast, refrigerate it quickly, eat it within a day, and reheat it thoroughly just once. It's a small change in habit that can make a massive difference to your well-being. Keeping yourself safe and feeling good is what truly matters. And it all starts with understanding these little details about the food we love to eat. Now that we've talked about the surprising risks of reheating rice, let's turn our attention to another common kitchen staple that can also become a problem if not handled correctly: potatoes. You might think potatoes are innocent, hearty, and dependable, whether mashed, roasted, or baked. But when it comes to reheating, especially a certain type, they can harbor a hidden danger. We're talking specifically about baked potatoes, particularly those that have been wrapped in foil during cooking. The warmth and moisture trapped inside that foil, combined with the low oxygen environment, create the perfect breeding ground for a very serious bacterium, Clostridium botulinum. This is the same bacterium that causes botulism, a rare but extremely potent and potentially fatal type of food poisoning. Just like with rice, the problem isn't the potato itself, but the way it's handled after cooking. If a baked potato wrapped in foil is left at room temperature for too long, those spores can germinate and produce toxins. And just like the toxins from Bacillus cereus in rice, these botulism toxins are not destroyed by simply reheating the potato. Even if you heat it until it's piping hot, the toxin remains. Imagine you've baked a few extra potatoes for dinner. Maybe you were thinking of having them for lunch the next day. You pull them out of the oven, leave them wrapped in their foil, and forget about them on the counter for a while. Perhaps while you watch your favorite program, or you just get busy with something else. That's where the risk factor increases. The best practice for baked potatoes you plan to save is to remove them from their foil immediately after cooking. Let them cool down as quickly as possible, perhaps by placing them in the fridge uncovered for a short while, then transferring them to an airtight container, and then refrigerate them promptly, and aim to eat them within 1 to 2 days. If you're using leftover baked potato in a dish, ensure the entire dish reaches a high temperature. It's far better to be safe than sorry when dealing with something as serious as botulism. Always err on the side of caution with these humble spuds. Now, let's turn our attention to a protein source that graces many dinner tables: chicken. We all love a good chicken dish, whether it's roasted, grilled, or pan-fried. The primary concern with reheating chicken lies in two main areas: bacteria and protein breakdown. Chicken is notorious for carrying bacteria like Salmonella and Campylobacter, which can cause severe food poisoning. While thorough cooking initially destroys these bacteria, improper cooling and reheating can allow them to multiply rapidly. If you cook a chicken dish and then leave it out on the counter to cool slowly, any surviving bacteria, or new ones introduced from the environment, will have a prime opportunity to grow. Then, when you go to reheat it, if it's not heated through evenly and completely, you're not killing all those new bacteria. You might warm it up in the microwave and parts of it are still cool or just lukewarm. That's dangerous territory. Beyond the bacterial risk, reheating chicken can also alter its protein structure. When chicken is reheated repeatedly or unevenly, the protein composition can change, making it tougher and potentially harder for your body to digest. This doesn't necessarily make it poisonous in the bacterial sense, but it can lead to digestive discomfort and reduce the nutritional quality of the meal. Imagine biting into a piece of chicken that feels rubbery and dry. Even after reheating, that's often a sign of protein degradation. So, what's the safe way? Always ensure your chicken is thoroughly cooked the first time. If you have leftovers, Cool them quickly and get them into the fridge within an hour. When reheating, make sure the chicken is piping hot all the way through, with no cold spots, and ideally, check with a food thermometer to ensure it reaches an internal temperature of 165 degrees Celsius, 74 degrees Celsius, just like rice. It's best to only reheat chicken once. If you've prepared a large batch, divide it into meal-sized portions before refrigerating, so you only reheat what you intend to eat. Finally, for this section, let's talk about leafy green vegetables. Think spinach, kale, lettuce, even celery or beetroot. These are often celebrated for their health benefits, packed with vitamins and minerals. And they are, when fresh or freshly cooked. However, leafy greens contain a naturally occurring compound called nitrates. While nitrates themselves aren't harmful, the problem arises when they are heated, particularly repeatedly. When nitrates are reheated, they can convert into nitrites, and under certain conditions, these nitrites can further transform into nitrosamines, which are potentially carcinogenic compounds. This is less of an immediate food poisoning risk like bacteria, and more of a long-term concern related to chemical changes. Imagine you've made a lovely spinach and ricotta cannelloni, or a hearty soup with lots of celery and kale. You eat some, then save the rest. If you keep reheating this dish multiple times, you are increasing the conversion of those nitrates. This is why it's often advised not to reheat baby food containing spinach or other high-nitrate vegetables. For adults, the risk is generally lower, but it's still something to be mindful of, especially for those with sensitive digestive systems or who eat these foods frequently. So, the best approach for dishes heavily featuring leafy greens is to prepare and eat them fresh. If you do have leftovers, try to consume them within a day and reheat them only once, ensuring they are heated thoroughly but not overcooked. Or, better yet, prepare the greens separately and add them fresh to your reheated meal. For example, if you have a soup, reheat the base and then stir in freshly steamed spinach right before serving. This small adjustment can make a big difference in maintaining the nutritional integrity and safety of your food. Next, we'll dive into our final surprising food, and it's one that might catch you completely off guard. Our final food on this list, the one that often surprises people the most, is mushrooms. Yes, those versatile, earthy fungi that add so much flavor to so many dishes. You might think they're perfectly fine to reheat, but they actually pose a unique challenge. Mushrooms contain delicate proteins and enzymes that, when left at room temperature after cooking, can begin to break down rapidly. This breakdown process can lead to the formation of substances that, while not always immediately toxic, can cause digestive upset like stomachaches, bloating, or nausea. It's not usually the same severe bacterial food poisoning risk as chicken or rice, but more about digestive discomfort and loss of quality. The longer cooked mushrooms sit out, the more these undesirable changes occur. Imagine you've made a wonderful mushroom sauce for pasta or a creamy mushroom soup. You enjoy your meal, but there's a little left over. If you leave that pot on the stove to cool slowly for several hours before putting it in the fridge, those delicate proteins are already starting to degrade. When you then reheat it the next day, you're not only warming up the potential for digestive distress, but also compromising the flavor and texture, turning what was once a delicious, firm mushroom into something rather slimy and unappetizing. The best practice for mushrooms is to eat them freshly cooked. They truly are at their peak of flavor and safety right after they've been prepared. However, if you absolutely must reheat them, the key is similar to our other foods: cool them very quickly after cooking, ideally within minutes, and get them into the fridge promptly. Then, when you reheat them, make sure it's done very thoroughly and at a high temperature, ensuring they are piping hot all the way through. And, just like chicken and rice, reheating them only once is crucial if you're making a dish with mushrooms that you know you'll want to save. Consider cooking the mushrooms separately and adding them fresh to your reheated components if possible. Or, Simply make enough for one meal. This is one instance where freshness truly does make a difference not just in taste, but in how your body processes it. So, we've walked through 5 common foods that deserve a little extra thought when it comes to reheating rice, especially when left to cool slowly. Baked potatoes, particularly when wrapped in foil. Chicken, if not cooled and reheated properly. Leafy green vegetables, due to nitrate conversion. And finally, mushrooms. Because of their delicate protein structure, it might seem like a lot to remember. But really, it boils down to a few simple principles. The golden thread connecting all these recommendations is about rapid cooling, prompt refrigeration, thorough reheating, and, ideally, only reheating once. These aren't just arbitrary rules. They're based on understanding how different foods react to temperature changes and how bacteria and natural compounds behave. For many of us, especially as we navigate our senior years, our bodies become a little more sensitive, our immune systems a little less robust. What might have given us a slight tummy ache in our younger days could now lead to a more significant period of discomfort or illness. The surprise I mentioned earlier, the one I wanted you to stick around for, isn't some hidden magic trick. It's the profound realization that often, the biggest dangers aren't the exotic or rare things, but the everyday habits we take for granted. It's the silent, invisible processes happening right there in our kitchens with foods we've eaten all our lives. The surprise is how simple these changes are, and how much power you have to protect your own health with just a little bit of knowledge and a few mindful adjustments. It's about empowering yourself with practical wisdom that truly impacts your daily well-being. Remember, every small change you make towards better food safety is a big step towards a healthier, more vibrant you. You're not poisoning your body knowingly, but by understanding these subtle risks, you can now make informed choices that safeguard your health. This isn't about giving up your favorite meals or becoming overly anxious in the kitchen. It's about being smart, being aware, and giving your body the best chance to thrive. You've got years of wisdom and experience under your belt, and adding this practical food safety knowledge is just another feather in your cap. These simple adjustments can help you avoid unnecessary discomfort and keep you feeling your best, allowing you to enjoy your golden years to the fullest. We'd absolutely love to hear from you. Have you ever experienced a mystery, upset stomach after eating leftovers? Do you have any clever tips for cooling food quickly? Or perhaps a favorite recipe that incorporates these safety principles? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your insights could be incredibly helpful to someone else in our wonderful community. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. That little like button really helps us reach more people who could benefit from this information. Also, consider subscribing to our channel and hitting that notification bell so you don't miss out on more practical advice and inspiring content designed to help you live your best life at every age. You deserve to feel fantastic every single day. And we're here to help you do just that. Keep living fully, keep thriving, and keep making smart choices for your incredible journey ahead.